how is it possible that you have a ton of red mediums in your stash, like, for example, sprays, inks, acrylic paints, and so on, but none of those wants to fit to your ephemera pack and to your junk journal pages you want to use to make your next journal? Hi, this is Luise Heinzl, and today my plan is to make some little snippets as another component for my collage fodder I want to use in my Tattered Bunny Collage Book junk journal. And I wanted to have something where the background is red, where I can then stamp on, and then later on I have snippets. I will explain that in detail after I have solved this problem. Obviously, this red here is more like lumberjack plaid. This is a mixture. This here fits really well. This is more like cherry red, like lumberjack plaid is also a little bit cherry-ish. But this here is more like candied apple, I would say. But I don't have the candied apple spray. And that is my biggest problem of the day. So I have spritzed here some lumberjack plaid spray. So this is the pure spray. And these splatters also. And this is fired brick oxide spray. This is a mixture of both of those. And I think that fits to this as well as to this. So I'm hoping that that plan will work. This here I have spritzed by pressing this thing here not completely down, and then I have let it dry a little bit. This is 200 GSM photo paper. Now I want to have a more, like this kind of spritzing, not so solid like these splatters. That's why I add a little bit of water so that this can spread. On the photo paper, it soaks in pretty fast. So let's quickly add some fired brick oxide spray on top. And if you're new to my channel, let me quickly explain what this is. This is part of my Tattered Bunny Collage Book series. I'm in the beginning of making a new journal, and you have already seen the journal in my Tattered Bunny Collage Book paper premiere, which happened on my channel a few days ago. If you have missed that, you can find the link down below in the description box of this video, and you can still watch the replay of that premiere. You can also read the chat next to the video, but when you read that, please note that that is not live anymore then, yeah? You can still read what we have talked about there, but you can't write anything anymore. But if you have questions, of course, as always, please feel free to leave a comment below this video or one of the other videos. And now we are doing a little time travel, because in the paper premiere I have shown you the finished journal. And with finished, I mean a stage where you can say, okay, I have a book, I have a journal. Not fully embellished, but in a stage which is like, 2 days after printing the printables. Do you know what I mean? So in a really raw condition, but with some embellishments and some ideas so that you can see how the paper collection Tattered Bunny Collage Book, and I have also included my worn Easter ledger in that journal, looks when you have that in a journal. The sense of the paper premiere is that you don't only see the printed pages here on my desk, but that you can imagine how that looks when it's bound into a book cover. Or let's say a journal cover, because it's not really a book. Well, perhaps it will become a book until now. I don't know how the journal looks. So you know way more than I do at the moment, because you have already seen that. And now we are doing a time travel, because I'm recording this in the middle of my process of making this whole stuff. And so that you can see the single steps and some portions of my process of making that journal. And in these first videos of this series, I want to make some collage fodder. In the last video, we've already made some labels. well, some, a ton of labels that are these. If you want to see how these were made, then please check out the playlist linked below this video. There you can find this video where we made that as well. And now I'm really curious if this could work. I guess we have to make the snippets, and then when we have cut them apart, we will see if this will work. The other day I made something which is pretty similar to what I want to do today. It's nearly exactly the same thing. The difference are the colors. And here I found something out. So what you can see here is what we want to have in the end of this video. And when I made that, I found something out. Look, here, can you see this dark brown sludge? It nearly looks like we had taken such a thing, folded that. I mean, I think you know that little trick. And then inked it like so. And then unfolded it so that we have something like this, which looks really, really authentically vintage. If you want, you can also, you know, do it like so, and then, you know, destroy this a little bit, and then you have this dark area which looks really interesting and which really adds to the authenticity of such a piece. Here on this one, it nearly looks like it was done in the same way. Can you see a difference? Probably not. But this was done in a very, very much easier way than this. Because if you want to have these on your snippets, you would have to do that on each individual piece after cutting these out, like I have just done it. That would take forever to do. This was made differently, and I want to show you in this video how. So for that, I am going to take this paper here. This is only 110 GSM. So then we are going to take our archival ink pad, and then we do something like this. Just go over this, and I hold the ink pad so that I come over the paper with this edge here, or the shorter edge, or the corner. And that makes these dark lines, which then later on the snippets make this effect, even if we will not fold this paper, because we have already what we want here. You can do this as extremely as you want. And with the archival ink, I also found out a really cool thing, which I can't really explain, but it is a phenomenon which is really cool. I also like to cross these lines. Please trust the process, that will turn out really cool later. And let's then do this side with Scotch Timber Distress ink. I haven't tried this yet with Distress ink, but this should work as well, because on photo paper the Distress ink gets permanent. When we are happy with this, we are going to take some spray. Let's take first some old paper spray stain. I think that fits the paper collection really well. Yeah. Let's see if that will happen here as well, because look, please take a look at this area where we have the archival ink. I will zoom in a little bit so that you can see that. And I would be really, really happy if there is someone out there who could explain this to me in a professional way. So perhaps you are a chemist or so, then please explain this phenomenon to me if you can. Because look what the spray is doing here. Can you see that it goes to the inside where not the archival ink is? Suddenly we get some really crazy outlines here, which will also dry like this. Here, where the distress ink is, that is not the case. That is not so important, because we get a nice result here as well. But what I want to know is, why does this happen? I have absolutely no idea. As soon as I spritz, it shrinks, not shrinks, but it collects itself in the middle, and then we have this white outline. So there must be something in the archival ink which makes this, but I have no idea what that is. So that was old paper, and I also want to add some Shabby Shutters spray stain. When we have that, we can perhaps add some Shabby Shutters oxide spray and also some of the old paper oxide spray, so that we get a nice variation of the colors. If you have never used photo paper for something like this, you will probably be surprised how these colors come out now. Example, here is pretty greenish. Can you see that? When I take a dry paper towel to lift up the excess, you can see it starts turning yellow. What is that? The spray went into the photo paper and made this, and what is sitting here on the top is just what is too much. Of course, I could dry this with my heat gun, and then that would go into the paper, but it would turn out this yellow because the paper has already done what it can do. We take water. Since we know that this is permanent, we can spritz this on here, and you can see this white stuff is the oxidation, which is too much in this moment, but that really doesn't matter because some of that will stay. Of course, you could let it dry, then it would stay there as well, but I want something different. I want to do this while the paper is wet. Could you do this when the paper is dry? Yes, but not with the same effect. We let this here for a few seconds. We take more water to make this move a little bit, but that hasn't an impact to the result. I just want to somehow have this liquid over the surface here so that it's easier to pick it up with my paper towel. Then I take my paper towel, and then you can see these gorgeous effects from the splattering we did before. There are other colors. What was that? What did I use to get this? I think I know it. I was a little bit confused because Frayed Burlap was not in my color palette here. That's why I was so confused, because I know that I have used that yesterday for exactly the same thing. So let's make this wet again. And let's then spritz this from very far away, and I don't press down fast and completely, but just a little bit so that I get these splatters. You could do that with a paintbrush, of course, as well, and just splatter on it. We let this here for a second. And normally the oxidation of this color would look like this. This is the oxidation of Frayed Burlap oxide spray. But with this photo paper trick, you can get orange, like rusty splatters from the Frayed Burlap spray. Because when you take this off, these splatters look like this. And if this isn't cool, then I don't know what is cool. And the most coolest thing is that you now, of course, can dry this. And then, when it's dry, add some more splatters with exactly the same color. But when this is dry and you splatter, the color will look like you know the color. Because when you add that to a dry surface, then it stays like it is. Okay. So this is nearly dry. So I think we can take this already and just do it like this. So then as you can see, it immediately starts to do its thing, and we get this cool color here, which we would expect exactly like this on dry photo paper. But now we have made two different colors from one and the same spray. We are going to let this dry. This here is already dry. I made this off camera before I started recording this video. So this is Vintage Photo Archival ink and brushed corduroy spray stain and walnut stain oxide spray, applied in exactly the same way like we've done it on the other paper a second ago, but with the difference that I don't have splatters on here yet. Yeah, it's just the spray and the archival ink with this scratchy, scribbly kind of technique. So let me quickly check if this would fit to my pages here. If I imagine that we only have tiny pieces of this, I think that would work really well with this. Look, I think that is good. So this is just my Tattered Bunny Collage Book junk journal pages printed on exactly this photo paper, 110 GSM matte photo paper. And this, you know, on the back, there's even nothing yet, because this is just my reference for what I want to do here. But I think this should work really, really well. And now I want to stamp on this to later on have a cool piece where I can then cut my snippets from. And for that plan, I think there are multiple stamp sets which would work really, really well for that. I would say the perfect stamp set for making that is the Curator set, CMS 493. I am so happy that Tim and Stampers Anonymous brought this out, because this is just perfect. Perhaps you know that there's also this little snippet pack from Ideology that's also called Curator. So you can get all of these also in the Ideology line in a little package. You know, you can take them out from the package and then you have your snippets. But then you have to live with the colors you have in the package. And perhaps you want something which is not neutral like this. Perhaps you want something red, something green, extreme green, or whatever. I mean, there are some colored pieces in the ephemera pack from Ideology as well, but if you want to have something really crazily special which is not existing in the ephemera pack, this is perfect, isn't it? So this is one stamp set you could use to make the snippets. Another one which is really, really cool for that is this here, Eccentric CMS 448. Yeah. Then we have this one here, which is called Tidbits CMS 488. I will probably do some of my snippets with this as well, and not only with this, because here you can see they are squares or rectangles, but all of them are nearly squared. These are longer, and here are more rectangles than here. You could also do bigger snippets with a stamp set like this here. You could even stamp these and then cut them into tinier pieces if you want to have really, like, you know, snippets. I think that is not a word, but, you know, I think you know what I mean. This is Faded Type CMS 397. What I also could imagine for those is this here, which is called Creative Blocks CMS 464. You could also think about stamping these and then cut them into quarters. Do you know what I mean? Cut like so, and then you have tiny pieces here as well. And what you also could use is any alphabet you have, stamp that and then cut that into pieces so that you have the single letters as your little snippets for your collage fodder stash. There are tons of other stamp sets which you could use for that, but I just wanted to give you a little you know, overview over what you could use. Even this is the field notes. This is CMS 396. would also work. So everything, I would say, which has like small numbers, tiny details, script, and so on. You could even use a background stamp which has script and then cut that into tiny pieces. Would also work. So then what we are going to do is we make our life really, really easy. First, let's take this and let's think about with what we want to stamp this. Since I have already a ton of these cut out, I have done that during the past few days, and I have some of these, I mean, it's really a lot. This is not everything what I have done. And there I already have some which have a similar color to this and where I stamped with black archival ink. So I want to do something different here. So let's try a little experiment. We are going to take this. Of course, you could take the single stamps and adhere them to your stamping platform if you want that. But since this is going to become collage fodder and these pieces are not focal points, I do it like this. I stamp this with my embossing ink from the dabber here because I want to try to emboss this with white embossing powder and golden embossing powder instead of just stamping it with ink. I think that could look really nice. So then we are going to take the paper and I leave this here on the table. Carefully press this on here. So then this looks like this. So the next thing I want to do is I ink this up with a black soot archival ink. Make a little fold here so that I see where I need to stamp this because I can't get this on here a second time in the full size. And then I want to try to be very fast to emboss this with golden embossing powder. And yes, I could have stamped with embossing ink again, but I want to try how this looks. I would say this turned out perfect for this journal. So then we can put this aside to dry. Since this is now completely dry, we can take this and oh my goodness, this is way too pink.
There's a book on my shelf, worn and frayed at the seams, a relic of whispers, of half-forgotten dreams, pages stained with coffee, edges torn with care, each mark a memory still lingering there. A bunny in the corner, sketched in faded black. Its ears are bent, its fur has cracks. Pressed between the layers, a life unfolds. A tattered bunny collage book, where stories are told. Oh, listen to that tattered, fluffy bunny, a raggedy witness of time that no one took. Ephemera of love, decay, and grace. Whispers of a childhood rhyme, collage pieces of my soul. Soft companions through time, touch their fur, feel the warmth they make. It's a bond you can't forsake. sheets in sepia tones, postage stamps from places I've never known. Rusty paper clips hold secrets tight, a letter from an Easter's night. There's lace from a dress that never fit right, and pressed violets that lost their fight. The bunny watches with its stitched up stare, soft and frayed, but love so dear. Jessup pages bleed through time, the ink runs wild like an untamed rhyme.
Okay, I will let this dry completely, air dry, and then we will see if we can use this or not when it's dry and cut apart. So then we still have this one. This should be a little easier because this color fits already. And I think on this color, ground espresso would look the best. That looks really cool. I will quickly do the second one here, but for that let's use vintage photo so that we then have a little variation with the color of the ink there as well. And then I will turn on one of my favorite YouTube channels because the next thing we need to do is we need to cut all of these little things out. And I do that with my scissors. I don't use a paper trimmer for that, but I use my scissors to have a better control over this whole thing. And I don't want you to fall asleep while watching me cutting these out. So I do that alone off camera, okay? And then I will be back to show you the final snippets. Yes, I will also ink them all up after I have cut them out. I had a little happy dance a second ago because these, in the weirdest red I have ever seen in my life, now I would say fit perfectly to this paper. So I'm pretty happy with these because these turned out so unique, and something like this I could probably not get with just a red paper and then stamping on that, because all of these tiny details would then obviously not be there, and I think this was worth the effort we've put into this. And also this glossiness is something I really like. So now I take my archival ink pads. I have here a mixture of vintage photo and ground espresso archival ink for the inking. The others there I want to ink with Scotch Timber Distress ink. Oh. What am I doing here? Oh my goodness. Was that worth the effort? Definitely yes. Especially for those here from the, how is this stamp set called? Tidbits, I guess. Yeah. Oh. This was so exhausting. I even forgot the name of the set. Tidbits. Because here the free space around the stamping is way bigger than on the others from the Curator set. And I think it's definitely worth to ink around them. That makes such a big difference. Yeah, and what do we think about this brown sludge we made in the very beginning? Can you see that here now? I have shown you this example. It's another one, but you know, with this brown line here, and we've tried to recreate that here, and I think that turned out really nice. On some we have that more extreme, like here for example. Oh, it's upside down, I'm sorry. On others, it's a little more subtle, but I really like how authentically aged and destroyed this looks. And that is obviously not so much effort like if we would take every single of these, bend them, and then ink the fold. And I think that turned out really, really nice. On these, that is a little bit more invisible, I would say. Have we done it here as well? Yeah, I did it here as well. But on these, we can't see that so well because of the white embossing. But I think that is even good because then they are all different. And when we then later on combine them in our collages, that is a great thing, because if they would look all the same, that would be boring. So imagine we would take these and combine them, then they look like from different packages or so. And that is a cool combination. And I really like this color combination, especially with this color here. Ooh, stay here. And also with the gold, I think that is a really nice addition. And if you have all of these and you think, perhaps you are like me and you think, I immediately want to do something with these, I don't want to wait until the other components of my journal are ready. And what I'm doing now is also something where I think that can really help to figure out if everything fits well together, if the colors are okay, yeah, and if everything fits to the color palette you've chosen. Take these little labels. Let's take some glue and let's see how we can combine these. I think that is a really cute thing. And what I then want to do is I want to throw them on here just to see if that can work color-wise. I mean, I have chosen this paper here from the ephemera pack because I have all the colors of the ephemera pack here. But what we also, in my eyes, should do now is, if we want to learn something here and make a little control thing, we should place it here as well on the pages. And I think that works. I mean, this is not the spot where I want to glue it, but just for the colors, it helps to just throw it on and then you see that it fits. And I will now do only a few of these just to see how this can work in the journal later and how this, these arrangements can look. I will not do them all because I want to combine the labels and the snippets also with other things I want to make in the next few days. And then it can happen that I want to, for example, put something in between here and layer with even more things than only these. And then it would be totally stupid to glue them all together now, because I want to use the future things as well. So these three are my examples here for today. I hope that's okay for you. If that is not enough for you, then please make your own to have more examples. And I'm really hoping that you want to try this out. Let me know what you think about this, and I would be really happy if you join me the next time with the next idea for even more collage fodder.
A tattered bunny collage book where stories are told. Oh, listen to that tattered fluffy bunny, a raggedy witness of time that no one took. Ephemera of love, decay and grace, whispers of a childhood rhyme, collage pieces of my soul, soft companions through time. Touch their fur, feel the warmth they make. It's a bond you can't forsake.